Bernard of Montreal. August 30th, 2020. Well, it is with great warmth in my heart that I thank all the listeners wherever you are. And of course, first of all to my dear Montreal, my dear Quebec City, but also to all you who are discovering me on this occasion or who may have had the opportunity to hear me speak. This is the one and only time that I speak among you on this plane of form and density where you are. For many, many years, I have had the opportunity to express myself on what was to come and what has come now. And all of you are directly this earth, confronted with truth and reality and the real. For a long time, I have been talking to you about the involutional aspect and the evolutionary aspect of man in a dimensional, linear, temporal and spatial perspective. Understand well that in my time, as well as in the time of all the elders, none of us had the possibility to verify and live what was beyond the light and beyond the intelligence. Today, for many of you things are clear. There's form, there's time, there's space, and all this passes and passes again. All this is linked to your reflection, to your memory. No memory and no reflection can allow you to live intelligence. Intelligence is pure. It does not depend on any scenario, any story, any memory. Evidently, in the linear temporal perspective, there was evidently this notion of evolution, of transformation. The overcoming of good and evil to arrive at truth, which knows neither good nor evil. Good and evil are definitively subject to form, competition, predation and, above all, illusion. What you are will never pass. You are pure intelligence, and we humans, whether in my time or in your time, do not have to submit to any authority, to any law, to any morality, all of which belong to the illusion of time passing and space unfolding. Today, only you're true, as all the elders have told you. You are all within each other with the same equality, the same intensity. And today you all have the possibility of finding yourselves beyond all memory, beyond all reflection and beyond all anticipation of any future. And even today, after yesterday's event celebrated on different continents, I am telling you again today, as in my last interviews, you have seen nothing. Everything is going to be done in the game of good and evil, so that all your points of reference can no longer exist and can no longer be a point of support for any reflection or any memory, such as freedom. It is in the instant. It is not in any root race to come or that has come. The world of form, right here in this density or in any density, is only passing and is not the real/true. The real is immutable. It does not know the form. It does not know time. It does not know space. It knows only truth. And truth has no use for good and evil. What I had already glimpsed and lived through in the illusion of other dimensions must now appear even more clearly to you. You are to all on condition that you accept irrevocably that everything you have played on the world of form, in this density as in any density, is not a reflection of the real. Then of course, there have been beings, so-called spiritual beings, incarnated on this earth, who have allowed you to cling, if I may say so, to the intangible which is the real. It has been necessary to go through innumerable histories, innumerable cycles, in order to realize and live the truth, which was inaccessible to us and yet was foreseen by many, even by the commander. Today you can live it, you can accept it, and you do not need anyone. I had the opportunity to say this when I was in my limited body of flesh. In spite of all the visions, in spite of all the intelligence, I would say today that you're prior to intelligence. The real has no form. The real does not concern the stories that are just passing by and that chain you in this process of the Mirandal soul, this soul that will lead you to join a collective, to scenarios. But, seen from the cosmic point of view, the soul has no reality and the spirit is the spirit. Do not mix spirit with spirituality, especially in these times. You must free yourself from all illusions and false securities. And the first of the illusory securities, into which we have swallowed ourselves up without exception, is what we call society. All civilizations without exception and without even going back in other cycles have all appeared, have all had growth, decay and death. No society and no body and no form is the truth. Accept this hypothesis, do not think about it, and then you will live it. I have often drawn your attention to the so-called worlds of spirituality. Do you believe that an archangel is capable of experiencing or feeling what a human feels? No. They can only guide you through their own vision, their own scenario, but it is not the scenario of a human. Man is captive within the form. He does not have to evolve from the moment the cosmic mystery is lived. And the mystery of the cosmic is that it is also an illusion in the same way as the density we experience. But the essential difference with these ethereal densities is that we humans, from the instant we set foot, soul and spirit within the form of this density, we are trapped because we do not see, because we do not feel the truth. We are trapped by the collective, memorial soul of our country, of our adhesions, of whatever it is. True freedom, the one and indissoluble truth that has neither beginning nor end, is beyond anything that can be represented by any form or scenario. The trap is terrible. It was conceived, and you know it today, from the very first moments of creation, which, I remind you, is out of all time, out of all space, and it is present everywhere. Today, the individual resolution, and I specify not only the collective resolution of humanity, but of the entire drama of creation, is being lived right now on this earth. And when you understand, as you live it, that what you call society is not there for you but is there to trap you in every possible way. From the instant you organize your life according to a past, according to a learning process, you can no longer be free. The real is no longer accessible to you in any way. You are obliged to rely on memory elements of your own soul, of the trapped collective soul of humanity or of a country, but you are also trapped by the very organization of society as a whole. As long as you don't see it, as long as you believe, at one level or another, that the society of men has the goal of living together and perpetuating the dream, then you're completely wrong. Time is of the essence. You can see it on the surface of this world, and I can also tell you that the cosmic urgency is very real. All the fragmented, separate consciousness, coming from the one consciousness, are, I would say, not at your bedside but listening to you. Man is not in a peripheral position, but he is in a central position in the game of creation, but also in the game of predation. Be very attentive. From the instant you appear in the density of this third-dimensional form as a human being, you can only be subject to memory and reflection. There's no spontaneity in this. I would say that the real is that which is spontaneous, which does not depend on your opinion or your decisions or your wishes, let alone your fears. At a time when the jackal is finally denounced and at a time when humans are opening their eyes, not to the cosmic lie but to the live society, you can tell yourselves that what happens in this local corner of the universe of creation, in this microcosm called the Earth, has an infinite repercussion on the macrocosm. You are, remember, in a central position. You are in a position of decision. The creation, the dream, the involution, the evolution were created for the need of the scenario, for the need of the dream. I affirm, today, having finally lived it, that all this is just stories like you tell a child a story to make him sleep. The stories that have been told to you since time immemorial are only there to keep you in the state of hypnosis, in the state of astonishment of the spirit. So of course you have created angels, archangels, dimensions, but we created them here on earth, all together. And there's only, as Nisargadatta would say, the real/truth that is eternal. Not everything that happens is not true. The great difference between what I have been able to deliver to you with the psychology of evolution was, above all, to make you aware of history as other elders before me have done for many, many years. All this in order to direct you with your ascent towards the only truth, towards the real. Today, what do you see on the stage of this world? There are pros and cons at all levels. There's good, there's evil, and everyone from his or her point of view does good and refuses evil. But the evil of one is the good of the other. And the good of one is also the evil of the other. As long as you are not independent, what you call autonomy, as long as you believe that you must depend on an authority, be it legal, moral or so-called spiritual, you are subjecting yourselves to your own creations. There's no space of freedom and no space of reality in these chimeras. You do not need visions, you do not need reflections, you do not need emotions contrary to what is serenaded to you, all year long, by all the teachers, to live your emotions. It is a heresy. Emotion nourishes the soul at the expense of spirit. The spirit is the real. And today, no spirituality, no religion, no experience of anything, even the most luminous, will allow you to be free. The only freedom is when you reject the planetary lie and also the cosmic lie which you did not have access to. Freedom, autonomy are not a question of material dispositions or mental dispositions. To find the real is to find one's identity beyond any form. It is to really and concretely live freedom whatever is imposed on you within the planetary lie as well as the cosmic lie. To become again like a child, virgin of any memory, of any reflection and also of any projection, what some tried to make you understand on earth, beyond the spiritual history, and which was named the instant, the present, the unexpected, is the key. As long as you are not disposed for the unexpected, you cannot live the reality. You are still in projection, you are still in fear and still in fear of suffering, for your work, for your body, for your children, for your parents, for your rent, for your taxes, for your food. Don't you see that all societies, at all times, that had wanted to federate, create, arrange a model of society, even if it is based on astrological data, like certain civilizations, even if it is based on matter, on predation, on what you call capitalism or liberalism or even communism, are of no use to you in discovering yourself. Stop swallowing everything related to the world of forms, the world of emotions and the world of thought. The supramental, as I called it, has nothing to do with all that. What you call a gape, the beatitude, the abode of supreme peace, all these words simply reflect the human who has found the real. As long as you are not stabilized in the real, you suffer, from your emotions, from your body, from your thoughts, from your stories, from your pasts, from your projections into whatever future is, even if it is only tomorrow, and at that moment you are no longer available for the unexpected, for what is there, I would say, within reach of heart, within reach of sight. The time is no longer for procrastination, for weighing the pros and cons. Time is for authenticity, spontaneity, immediate availability within the instant that must be total. Whether you're looking at a flower, helping a human brother or sister, fighting or living, what must remain inside you is this liquidity of intelligence that makes sure that you will never again be able to take illusions for the truth. Simply observe as the commander or Nisargadatta said, observe the observer. You are not even the one who lives what is to be lived, you are prior to that. But as long as you feed the system, society, memory or projections, today you will suffer. Because it is a game of the intelligence of the real to bring you back to the essence and the essential beyond the world of forms, beyond dimensions, beyond all appearance and all vision, to the ineffable beauty of the truth. Today, compared to 15, 20 years ago, you have the possibility of it, unbelievable for my time, each one of you, whatever your age, as soon as you let your pretensions to know, your memory pretensions, your emotional and mental pretensions, then at that moment, you are totally free. The planetary lie is being revealed and I repeat, you have seen nothing. You have not yet lived anything of what is happening in the next 4 months that will unfold before you. I warn you. It is no longer time to play the game of good and evil. It is no longer time to want to refine any perception and vibration. It is time to be just and authentic, not to depend on anything anymore. Does not mean to isolate yourself, but to see things clearly, because when you're going to discover the totality of the planetary lie, and it goes very far, it goes much further than what you call the cons, it puts in question and in responsibility the whole of creation, of what is called consciousness, of the worlds of form, of the worlds of time. Everything, at the level of the planetary lie, goes there immediately in the coming days to bring you back to the cosmic lie, the lie of our religions without any exception, the lie of all spiritualities without any exception. The real does not need history. Real intelligence does not need form. What you call white paradise is only the actualization of the cosmic line that's linked with the planetary lie, so that you're truly in the freedom that you're no longer subject to any memory whatsoever, to any redundancy whatsoever, or even to any becoming whatsoever. If you're lucid, if you accept to see things, right here in your life and what is happening in society, you will no longer be able to lie to yourself. No matter what you think today, whether you're at peace or angry, whether you're in constant crisis to see what you see, what is being done to your parents, to your children, to your friends, by a group of human beings as well, who are not human at all, you don't see that yet. You were taught about this by the commander many, many years ago, and you will see the strings that set the puppets in motion, and you will understand that there are strings that mobilize you too. These strings come from memory, from the soul, yours but also that of your country, that of your beliefs, of the path you have traveled within this life. Everything you have become accustomed to, whether happy or unhappy, is a formal obstacle to total freedom. The real is beyond good and evil, but it has been necessary, over the last 40 years, to first become aware of the planetary lie, to see that evil is not necessarily evil and that good is not necessarily good. If you're still subject to this duality of good and evil, you will never get through the planetary lie, much less the cosmic lie. Autonomy, becoming the integral sovereign of who you are, cannot accommodate any planetary lie, much less a cosmic lie. Today, in a few days, the cosmic lie of the creation myth, as Nisargadatta would say, the planetary lie which until now seemed to many of you totally separate, will show you their common resonance. Everything that subjects you to birth and death, everything that subjects you to the flesh, everything that subjects you to memory, is not real. As long as you nourish this, in one way or another, how do you want to be free? It's not a question of age, it's not a question of sickness or health. As has been said by the commander, but on a cosmic level now, there will be fear or love, suffering or love, but you must, as has been said, go through everything, accept everything, because the totality of what you see, the totality of what you see, was created only by you, for you and for this moment, and it is you who created it at all levels, planetary and cosmic. In my lifetime, I spoke out at great length against the communications that you now call channels. This is the truth. Everything that comes as information today, so-called subtle or invisible planes, can only lead you astray, to confusion and certainly not to the real. Because if you put your trust in an external authority, cosmic or even planetary, you cannot be free. Look at society, wherever you look, whether it is in Quebec, Canada, the United States, or even here in Europe, you will always see the same lie, the need to procreate, the need to dominate, and not only in the state, even in families. Just think about it. Everything is done to keep you in the lie, the non-real even today, and until all this has been enlightened, consumed in its entirety and not only at the planetary level, but at the level of creation in its entirety, talking about freedom is useless. All humans who have lived, I would say for 30, 40 years the truth, beyond any dogma, any school, any teaching, all of them tell you the same thing without any exception. You must abandon all your baggage that you call spiritual. You must stop feeding your experiences, even the most divine experiences that you have lived, not as something true or false, but as something that literally blocks you, that literally freezes you, and really prevents you from living and being this real intelligence, this intelligence called of the light. The light is intelligence. Consciousness appears in the light, but it is not the light. Everything that is memorable, everything that refers to an acquisition or a loss cannot be true. It is a fragmented vision linked to a deployment of creation according to a time, and according to different spaces and densities, what you call dimensions. But as long as there is density of any kind, there is subjection to form. You are in a form, but you are no form. Just accept it. You cannot demonstrate it, but if you accept it in your head, if you accept it sincerely, not to stop the emotions, the thoughts, the memories, but to let them appear and disappear without your interest, you are free but instantaneously. If you're not free today, if there's a suffering, whether it is related to age, to illness, to society, to your children, to your parents. It is because you still believe in form. You are not in reality. You are still, whatever your lived experiences, whatever the opening of your chakras or your waves have life, or the doors of the stars, you are still subject to a story, but you are no story. You don't have to believe me. I specify moreover that I do not intervene as a channeling or kenneling of myself through another body. It is the real intelligence that speaks to you, which knows neither time nor space. It is the same for Nisargadatta under the name of Biggie. Do you believe that the one who is absolute, even if he relies on the identity he had today, is simply a distraction to show you a kind of logic that is very human, but which was necessary to put you in confidence with regard to yourselves? You are great. You are much greater than the whole of creation, much greater than the greatest of geneticists' mothers, much greater than the greatest of geneticists' mothers or even archons. You don't have to be limited by a form even if you're in the form and in the mold, in the prison of the soul. Accept it today even if you do not live it, and you will see almost immediately that reality will unfold, that you can no longer be deceived, neither by it nor by your thoughts, nor by your emotions, nor by any one of that density, or of some spiritual density that is far less tangible and far less real than the density where we have been on this earth. We are not only those who seek the light, the truth, but we are truly the truth. We have been put to sleep. We have put ourselves to sleep. We thought we had to do something. Yes, in my time, and we have done it with others. It is to show the planetary lie, the truth about the cosmic lie. I had the opportunity to say it in the 95s until 2000. You will be revealed afterwards. You are in this period. So look at yourselves. Look at yourselves. What are you running after? After money, after health, after insurance, avoiding old age. It's all a cinema. If you were really lucid and in total agreement with that, there's no reason why this society, this world, your own thoughts or your own emotions, or your own story as a character, can restrain you, limit you in the freedom you feel. Many of you live what you call a gape. It is the state of vacuity. It is the state of reality that you express, certainly through a limited form, but you live the unlimited. At that moment, as some have told you, you can only laugh and smile after crying for a long time, because it is not over, it is only a beginning, and the event that happened yesterday in different parts of the world will obviously be amplified. Remember the date of August 29th when you look again. If you have the opportunity to see this date in a few weeks, then you will really understand what was at stake. It is not only a need for freedom within society, it is not only a demand to impose this that, it is a definitive realization that you're beyond all forms, all contingencies, all limits and everything that frightens you. The human being is a being of fear because fear has been cultivated. We have all cultivated it together, but it was necessary in order to emerge from the lie. This very body is a lie. Your very identity is a lie. There's no reality in that. Today you are connected. You are the resonance yourselves. You are the intelligence that cannot be in any way superimposed with the intelligence as you call it normal mind. And besides, all of you who have glimpsed it or who live it know that they do not depend on anything or anyone. There can be no fear of illness. There can be no fear of suffering. There can be no fear of any tomorrow or any lack. If these thoughts go through you for any reason, it means that you're not in the real. You still believe in your character. You still believe you have something to do, something to accomplish. But the intelligence of the real has nothing to do with any kind of accomplishment. It's more of an acknowledgement, an observation, that this society leads you to nothingness, that this society leads you to suffering, and that it's the same as long as you imagine a difference between you and your worst enemy. All this is fear. I would even say that the assassin who kills you actually sets you free. You judge according to appearances. We all judge on this earth according to facts and never according to truth, never according to the real. The real doesn't care about your form, doesn't care about the history of the cycles of this earth or of any creation. The real is the real. It is likeness. It is permanent joy that nothing can erase, even the worst suffering, even the worst loss. And besides, there is no loss. It is a total restitution, I would say, ad incrum, that is to say, in the entirety of who you have always been. There will be no refuge to dream, whether here on this density or within all the densities that have seemed to exist. You do not exist, you are. Simply the decor, the environment, the laws, the morals, the spirituality and the basic human psychology have been nothing but decoys. This is the moment when you have to accept this total nudity. This is how you embrace the unexpected. This is how you embrace the real that you are, and this is how you're intelligent. But as long as your mental intelligence is used to explain a manifestation, a causality, a becoming or a past, you will never be enjoying. That is exactly what will happen in the months to come, is that everything you still believe in, your body, your family, your apartment, your house will no longer mean anything to you. The more you'll progress in unmasking the cosmic lie in these interrelationships with the planetary lie, the more it will be taken away from you, the lighter you'll feel and the more real you'll be. At the time, some people said, no one can serve two masters at the same time. Today, more than ever, you are faced with this. The demonic forces, whatever you call them, but also the forces of light, whatever you call them, signed a long time ago what you might call today a very special gospel, which is not the gospel of Christ but the gospel of Satan, so that the dream, the history, the mind, the emotions, the densities, the peoples, the different lineages of creation meet in a conjoint moment, allowing the unmasking of the real, as well through the planetary lies, through the cosmic lie. You just have to applaud, you just have to look, and it is your light, the fact of accepting to look at these horrors, that will allow you to understand that they never had any density, that the only real is who you are, and not this character who bears such and such a name and such a first name and who is struggling today at the end of a cycle. As long as you nourish by your gaze other than that of the observer, as long as you nourish the emotions, the impulses, the becoming, you will suffer, but when you're tired of suffering to the extreme limit of your density, then you will be free. As Nisargadatta said, as Abba said, at some point the tears will turn into infinite laughter, even if today everything that is happening in your life, or in the society of this world, seems terrible to you, and this is only the beginning, can only lead you to the real, to escape and to peace. Everything else will seem futile, useless, outdated and of the order of outdated beliefs. Remember, everything you care about you hold on to, and today binds you. Whether it is your own thoughts, your own conceptions of your role, or your everyday life, you are already at that moment no longer free for the unexpected. You are more likely to meet the real by sitting, by looking at anything, than by moving and gesticulating, which does not mean that you should do nothing, but that it is already enough to see, because what is seen by the eye of man, which is no longer masked by his emotions, by his laws and by his morals, is inevitably written. The end of the dream, the end of the planetary lie and the end of the cosmic lie. During my lifetime, I have had the opportunity to speak to you at length about extraterrestrial beings, as well as the positive and negative ones. They too are there. Don't believe the prophecies, they are unfolding before your eyes, they are a descriptive framework of what you have to go through, and it is at this moment, but that is not why you should believe their finality. Because everything that you're going to talk about becoming, whether it is a new earth, a new dimension, a stellar origin, all that I am telling you, is wind. Today we all find the truth, the real. The real is of no world, even if it is the most ethereal. The only real is that which never passes. It is this joy without object, this naked love, this resonance of the intelligence itself that you are, and when you really and concretely live it, you spontaneously let go of what you care about, and anyway you can't do otherwise. You can decide what you want to eat, what you want to travel, but the intelligence of life, the intelligence of reality will catch up with you, because where you are still fallible, even awake as you say, even with all your craft spinning and open, even with the wave of life that has gone up, what still keeps you dependent is that you still believe in form, you still believe in your body, you still believe in society or your country. Of course, you must denounce but not react, and to denounce is to see beyond appearances, beyond experience, beyond memories, beyond all reflection and all judgment. It is the neutrality of the present instant where you are in this embrace and this acceptance that will never be a submission, never, because you will never again be able to submit whether to husband, a wife, a child, a law, a country or the dictatorship of the cosmic lie. All you have to do is accept it, see things as they're within the lie. You cannot oppose the lie. The lie will go to its planetary as well as cosmic end, and it is here on this earth that it is happening right now, and all those who still believe that everyone goes at his own pace, that everyone is not at the same stage of his consciousness, of the truth, you are wrong. Only those who have escaped the vision of the senses, the vision of this world and also the astral vision of the cosmic lie see the world for what it really is. At that moment is freedom. But I invite you in the coming days, and I really mean days, to ask yourself the question inside yourself. You don't need any outside advice. Look clearly without judging yourself, without judging anyone. What still holds you? What is the fear that has not been seen? What is the suffering that has not been accepted and that prevents you from being true, from being real? That's what autonomy and sovereignty is all about. It's not depending on anything other than the instant. From the instant you think, from the instant that even a pleasant memory comes back into your consciousness, into your head, you are no longer free, simply because you're no longer available for the instant. So you're going to tell me that man is the result of an apprenticeship, that he is inserted into a society, a family environment, a country. I say and I repeat that the trap is there in what you still believe to be valid, in what you still believe to have to accomplish, to earn your living, or to lose your life or not to lose it. The truth is not encumbered by all these reflections, is not encumbered by all these notions of involution and evolution that were adapted to my time as the commander. Likewise the first one to speak of the supermental for having lived it, was Sri Aurobindo. What did he hasten to do? To foresee a future, as I did, as the commander did, as we all did. Because we didn't have the means to verify and live it even if we pressed him. Today you all, without exception, have the same possibility to live it, but you cannot think of Christ or think of the devil and be free. To see it, yes, it is visible on every street corner. You see the actions of one another, not to condemn them, not to classify them as good or evil, but to see the real through it. So what is expressed today is the real intelligence, which is evidently based on an identity and a form, but which has nothing to do with a channeling process or an external entity that would arrive through the Marian channel and would merge its essence with the essence of that channeler. This is true telepathy. There's no need for an intermediary. There's no need for distance. There's no need for preparation. Real intelligence is at this point. The problem is that we use words such as love or intelligence, and that each one sticks to his lived experience, his point of reference in relation to what he has already lived or not lived. But as long as you're in this logic, you cannot be totally free. Freedom, I repeat, is the freedom of the instant. Is your name present instant free of all learning, all fear, all memory and all emotion? Look at the human brothers and sisters who are living peace, who are living agape. They see for themselves still variations. These variations of state, if I may say so, which is not one, is only the reflection of your ultimate questions, your ultimate questioning about tomorrow or yesterday, about what we all call causality. Intelligence has no causality, it is far beyond. The real knows once again only good and evil, which do not exist as such, but as cosmic forces that oppose each other, and which have allowed, whether we like it or not, the dream of creation. There's no more responsibility in what you call Idade than in the genetic mother you call Mary. We have all made the same mistake. We have all gone through the dream, through the densities, and we are here on this earth at the central point, I would even say the nodal point where life comes from and where life returns. Where there is no more need for a path, where there is no more need for evolution or involution. What you call zero time is the resolution of the cosmic line, the planetary line that is happening right now on Earth and nowhere else. The note of the problem was the Earth as the origin of the dream. No, there are many beings today on this earth who talk about flat earth, but the earth is neither flat nor round. It is a projection, a place of elaboration of life, elaboration of the dream and elaboration of the cosmic and planetary lie. It is not a condemnation to say this, it is simply to see it clearly and one by one within your apparent individuality. We are all called, regardless of our density, today to accept and realize the planetary lie and the cosmic lie. There's only love, there's no world. Love is perfect, could never be amputated, and will never be deviated no matter what you think, no matter what your feelings tell you, no matter what your vibrations tell you. The vibration that you have developed for some people over the years was the way, as has been explained, to actually live the supramental. But I took the example of Sri Aurobindo, who hastened to create a school, to create a city, because he was the first one to live it. Did I create anything apart from what I said when I was incarnate? Did Nisargadatta create a school, a current, a philosophy? No. Get out very quickly of all these so-called spiritual, energetic, vibratory approaches. They take you on paths of suffering today, every time. Simply be available and lucid whatever your age, whatever your life condition, except to be fully there, fully present in what you are living, in what is happening in the instant, and you are instantly free of the planetary lie and the cosmic lie. Of course, there's a fight. This fight is called Armageddon. Of course, that is what you are living, individually, collectively, everywhere. But this is what is the great upheaval, this revelation of the intertwined cosmic lying planetary lie that had been hidden from you. My words at the time could go no further, because there was no point in saying what was behind the sun or behind the light until we had lived it, especially the fact that as long as a certain number of human beings had not lived it, talking about it was useless. Today, you have only one thing to talk about, and that is the real. The real is not the form. The real is not your form. The real is not of any world. At that moment, you will experience, you will feel the vibe. Vibe can be translated as ambience or vibration, the vibe of freedom that is comparable to no other. It is not just warmth in the heart or fire in the heart. It is not just the wave of life crackling in your back or in your legs. It is not just your chakras spinning at full speed, as this is not real. It is the cessation of everything that moves, and what has to stop moving is your mind, your emotions, not your body. You are moving it. You have obligations, and I would like to take this opportunity to tell you that even obligations, be they financial, social, moral, emotional, professional or family obligations, will mean nothing to you in the days and weeks to come. This is neither a punishment nor a retribution. It is a pretext to make you live the real that you are. There's no real in your life. There's no reality in your affects. There's no real in your thoughts. The real is pure joy, which does not care about evolution or involution, which does not care about movements, which does not care about groupings. It happens one-on-one. It is in your purest individuality that you will discover that there is no one, that there is no individuality, neither here nor elsewhere, since all creation is in your heart. And that, as you know, we are all intertwined with each other. There's no point in excluding Idade or Mary, but to cross them, to put them in their place, dreamers or hinders at dreaming. But no dream leads to reality. On the contrary, we know that the more we dream, the less chance we have of living the real. This is today what you yourselves must prove to yourselves in the intelligence of life, the intelligence of light, the matrix of light, the Christic matrix as you named it a few years ago, will take away everything that remains of your illusions. You are neither a grandfather nor a child. You are neither husband nor wife. You are neither the lawyer, nor the professor, nor the policeman. You are neither the angel nor the archangel. All that is of the order of form, all that is of the order of any density, is subjection. You are interior to all this, and it is in the sense that at a given moment the planetary lie will meet the cosmic lie in its entirety, including extraterrestrials, to show you that you're alone, that there has never been anyone, that you're at the same time nothing and at the same time whole. From that point on, the dream can no longer continue in any possible density, in any possible form and in any possible world. It is this realization, this awakening if you want to call it that, no longer of the individual but of the entire human collective, present on earth or in other dimensions, that will show it to you, make you live it, if it has not already been done. Joy embraces everything, the joy of the real, the true intelligence. At that moment, all the rest of what you could call the set, and the set includes the others as well, whether it is your wife, your husband, your child or your banker, does not exist. You are still subject for many to your most ordinary senses. What you see, what you hear, what you feel, is not true, it is a phase. But everything is done by the intelligence of the real, what you call the intelligence of the light. As Abba said, everything has been written. Nothing is left to chance. If you accept this, you will see more and more clearly the live society, the live history, and I mean all the histories of all peoples, all countries, and all the moments of this cycle as well as of any cycle. The real cannot be cyclical. The real cannot be improved nor can it be amputated. The real is joy, and until joy has taken and consumed everything, your last illusions, your last adhesions to the world of form, you cannot claim to be free. You will certainly have experiences of freedom that will perhaps strengthen you as you go along in this truth. This truth, which depends neither on your point of view, nor on your history, nor on an archangel, nor on an angel, nor on God, nor on the devil, nor on any density, nor on any dimension, has always been there. We simply couldn't live it all. We had to illuminate the whole picture, the predation's grip, the sixth cycle of the earth, the alternation of eras, what we call today the Kali Yuga. But the only way out, the only key is your behavior in the present instant. If you're truly inserted and fully inscribed in what has been called the here and now without question, allowing yourself to be crossed by everything that may well pass through, thoughts and emotions, body pains, then you will flush out the observer, the natural state. The natural state is the one that is no longer fooled, neither by the planetary lie, nor by the cosmic lie. It is no longer fooled by its situation, it is no longer fooled by its age, it is no longer fooled by a profession or even a sex. It is what you called years ago, in the primordial androgynate. These are still words, but they were a good translation of what you were going to live today. Look at your life as a character. Look today at the weight of your thoughts. As soon as you have a fear or an emotion, about anything, it will instantly crystallize in your body. Your body is the mirror of truth. It is an interface even if it is illusory. And today, you all have the possibility by being in a body of flesh of this density whatever your age, if you're honest with yourself, you will find more and more easily that if you're in the instant, nothing can come and disturb you. And that if you're not in the instant, you will be the object of all possible pain and suffering, at whatever level. And I told you that the target is your body. This is not a punishment, understand that. It is an enlightenment. When you're tired of suffering from this body, this world of the cosmic lie, you will only be able to turn to yourself, which has been called the heart of the heart. And everything is done by the intelligence of the light and in what you are going to have to live in the days and weeks to come, to make sure that you can only look at the real and the truth of who you are. Because anything you lean on outside, property, electricity, house, food, will not bring you security. This is what we have all decided to write to wake up from the lie. Do not judge anything. If I tell you today that everything is perfectly in the right place, everything has been written perfectly and that you can only follow the script without getting involved, then the real will be your daily life. Joy will show on your faces, in your eyes. You will no longer tolerate the slightest hindrance to your freedom, not by wanting to fight or oppose but by telling the truth. You are the truth, but not as long as you claim an identity or anything in this world. In any case, the so-called Western society is coming to its death like all civilizations, and it is at this moment. So, of course, when I was in this density that is yours today, of course, we were talking about the future, we were talking about evolution, because we were so much in evolution. But there is no time. All those who live in the instant tell you that. All these worlds with all these forms, angel, archangel, demon, it is a creation of man, like God and the devil. There's only us. Stop projecting, as it was certainly necessary to do in order to rise in vibration, in an external authority. I have already said it in my last speeches, don't believe me. Do not believe anyone. Believe nothing except the instant, except the present. Everything else will make you suffer more and more. As long as you need to understand the connection between yourself and anyone else, you are not free because you do not see the other one in you. You put distance, and we all do that. Distance is the opposite of reception and acceptance. Those of you who a few years ago were able to experience acceptance and absorption of the essences, know this. Stop looking. Stop trying to understand. Understanding can only come from you, not through an intellectual act, not through a memorable or even less projective act, but simply through the validity of the instant. If you were able to be totally in the instant, there's no longer any fear, there's no longer any thought, there's no longer any emotion that can alter you. I think Nisargadatta spoke of divine indifference to the world of form and first of all to your form. This is not a denial. It just means that you have gone through all the layers of illusion, everything that is not true. You are the real. Continue to be that real, and the more you are in the real, the more the chaos of illusion will set in, the Armageddon that you call the apocalypse that all the prophets have spoken of. Today you're in it. 20 or 30 years ago, I used to say that you shouldn't worry too much about prophecy because it put anguish, it put fear, it put projection, but today, none of that. It belongs to a world that is already dead. And what you are witnessing right now, in the revelation of the planetary lie and its interrelationship with the cosmic lie, will appear to you as a vast farce. And the more today you feel that you're suffering from it or being affected by it, whether it is money, whether it is laws that prevent you from moving, you will laugh about it because there's no better opportunity, there's no better circumstance than what is happening now. Yesterday, August 29th, Lighthouse of Humanity lit up. It found an echo also in Europe but also in other parts of the world. Truth is spreading everywhere. The lie will resist from everywhere, in you too. Look at the number of times you negotiate with yourself, when you feel this joy, but you are caught up by a lack of anything, by a need to protect yourself from anything. Look at how easily, even for those who are most stable in the truth of a gape, how many more have moments when it seems to you that things don't go smoothly, naturally. These are only your last bits of attachment to your character, to your affections, to your families. But what does family mean, beyond the cosmic and planetary lie? Absolutely nothing. Look how we all depend on memory, on images, on the bonds we have formed and tried to break. None of this today can concern you. The more you are in the joy of the instant, in this agape resonance, the less you're subject to all that concerns illusion, whether you like it or not. Even if it seems to you to lack health, money, affection, you have not gotten into it enough. You haven't let it dissolve, eliminate itself from you, the ultimate veils. But life today, for each one of you in this density, all that life is going to present to your shocks, shaking, in all sectors of your lives. It is not about punishment. It is not about attack. It is simply about adjusting to the real. It may be about letting the light rectify what you thought was light but is only a weight. If you're objective and if you're honest and lucid with yourself, you will not be able to lie to yourself anymore. There's no alibi that holds. There's no justification. There's no explanation of anything that holds up against the real. But then again, as I said in the 2000s, leave those who sleep alone. The circumstances of the planetary lie will wake them up soon enough, according to what has been written in them and for them and by them. Take care of yourself. Be in this natural state in the real, in the intelligence, and everything that seems to you, even today, insurmountable, be it on an emotional level or on any other level, will be surpassed and transcended with an immense smile. But this does not come from your action, it does not come from your reaction, but it simply comes from your ability to accept, to actually see that even the worst of losses, even the worst of suffering and even the worst of fears, can never last. It will in any case be limited by your physical death, to the maximum. But you have today, through the intelligence of the real, the total availability of this self to react, and you're the master of it. But as long as you seek responsibility elsewhere, as long as you seek causality elsewhere, it is society, it is my neighbor, it is my husband, it is my wife, it is the lack of money, it is the fault of bad luck, you have no chance of being free, totally. And you have enough humans today who are living this state of peace, this state of resonance, which is a much more important link than communication, as I was saying, because there is no longer any distance. So you're free. And if you're free, which is your natural state, it can only grow every day no matter what happens to your body, to your life, to your wallet, to your family, to your country. The true connection and the true resonance, it is there. It is to recognize yourself beyond any appearance, any role, any function or any occupation. It is no longer time to entrust yourself to a guide, big human or cosmic. You are alone. Alone to yourself. If you can truly understand this phrase, that you're alone, that there's only you, then you will live that there has never been anyone, then you will be free. But as long as you give free rein to the concerns of this world at whatever level, how do you want to be truly and frankly and totally available? This is no longer possible. You can no longer make transactions, you can no longer trade or deal with illusion. You can only extract yourself from it, and it is not you who will extract yourself from it. It is reality itself that will extract you from what was limiting you, be it your husband, be it your body itself, or be it any situation. The logic and intelligence of the real, of the light, cannot be approached with any human logic. Understand this. Only by accepting your humanity, your nothing and your all, are you free. What you have to go through, individually and collectively, in the days and weeks to come, do not judge by appearances, do not judge even by facts, but wait for the results. Let the plan unfold. Just be there, see clearly, be lucid, and be in that peace. Everything else doesn't need you, it's still a belief. In fact, the meeting of the planetary lie and the cosmic lie is to bring you now more and more brutally, sometimes violently, to the truth that you are. Do not interpret the events. Just let them be enlightened by your presence. This is your job, if one can call it a job. It is to be yourself, to no longer give free rein to your memories, to no longer give free rein to what limits you. Not by opposing it, not by confronting it, but by accepting the evident. There's nothing you can do about it. There's freedom and there's reality. Don't listen to anyone. Besides, you will no longer know who to listen to, because the voices will be so discordant everywhere, whether it be among so-called spiritual people, whether it be among politicians, whether it be among doctors, whether it be among mediums, you will no longer be able to rely on anything known. There's urgency. There's no point in suffering. There's no point in resisting. It is simply necessary to assist what is there, by looking at it, by not judging it but by seeing clearly. I won't expand on what happens next. They were written from everywhere. You are really, in 2 days' time, entering Armageddon. What are you going to do? Are you going to want to preserve yourself? Are you going to want to run away? Are you going to be quiet? Freedom is in quiet, neither in flight, nor in preservation, nor in opposition. Everyone plays his role. Some have written to oppose. Some have written to be violent. But from the cosmic point of view, we need, above all, human brothers and sisters aligned in the divine indifference, who see clearly and who let the light of the real sit definitively in their heart and in all their cells, without resisting, without wanting to understand, without wanting to appropriate, without wanting to make new stories out of it. Lucidity is without stories. Lucidity is the real. It gives you clarity and precision, not about this world, not about the cosmic, but it shows you the lie and the links. There's nothing else to do. It is love and light and intelligence that consumes what is false. And the more truthful you are, the more you accept to open your eyes and to open your heart and to close your head, your mind, the more you'll discover serenity, the more you'll experience that the emotions that pass, even if they're memorable or the instant, can no longer hinder or limit you, and it is in this immobility, in this silence, in this welcome, that the real reveals itself. The best way to put an end to the lie of your life, of society, of the sphere of life that we call the earth, is silence and acceptance, which is exactly, I would say, the noblest revolutionary act that does not involve bloodshed, conflict or brawling. The more you are strengthened in this indifference, in this silence, the more effective you will be without asking for anything. What you lack will be brought to you, and if you struggle it will be taken away from you. The time has come to attend the feast. The time has come to witness the lifting of the cosmic lie right here on this earth. Already now many of you are no longer fooled by the densities, the dimensions, the experience within even the most ethereal form, for he who discovers the freedom of a gape can no longer be subject to any world, to any idea, to any becoming, and is no longer dependent on any past. I will not speak to you in terms of energy or vibration or even of feeling. You don't need all that anymore. You just need to accept the present instant, yours as well as the Earth's, as well as the cosmic one. Everything else is done without you but through you. It is so for each individual. It is so for each social group, for each family and especially for each country. It is not for nothing if I had decided a long time ago to put Art of Montreal, because Montreal is the mount of reality. True history did not take place where you're told. It is all a lie, but it belongs to history, but the reflection of the earth, and I think the commander explained this to you a long time ago. Each country is marked by a basic type of qualifier. Brazil is marked by fire. Quebec is marked by what? By water. It is the matrix of life, the matrix of light intended to enlighten, not as an individual, but as a consciousness linked to a very ancient soul which is at once the soul of old France, which has become new France, but also the soul of the natives who today must find themselves in the same alchemy, not only in Quebec or Canada, but everywhere. Look in the West and in Europe at all those who oppose each other by talking about their race or nationality. This cannot be true in Quebec, but it can no longer be true in Europe either. As long as you put a limit, as long as you put a border, as long as you put a definition, an identification, in truth you cannot be free. It means that you bring weight, energy, and consciousness to what is past or what is to come. That is the great trap of spirituality that is revealed today, already for a few years now. Today more than ever I would simply say these words to you. Believe no one, believe no words, believe no images, believe no script, but simply believe what your heart says. And what your heart says is not expressible in words, is not expressible only in decisions such as the response of that commander's heart many years ago. Today there is only one answer. Yes, yes, I see the planetary lie, I see the cosmic lie, I see the lie of my identity, the lie of my form. There is only one thing left, love. It has always been there and it is everything. Love puts an end to consciousness. Love puts an end to the supramind. Love puts an end to what passes. Love puts an end to ties and gives way to resonance, which is much more than a reliance. Resonance means saying to the other, I see you and you see me, beyond any mask, beyond any identity, beyond any individual. It is the only truth. It is the only real, and that is intelligence. You will see more and more strongly in the days and weeks that will open up before you, that you will no longer be able to discuss this real, this love, and that if there is the slightest justification for your character, for a memorable element, or for a professional, societal or national emotional bond, it will not be able to lock you up again. Inner joy, this state beyond any state, will be your daily life, and I would say that it will be your only reference point. As soon as you have lived it, even if it is only a little bit of breathing, you will not be able to be deceived. No lie will be able to take hold of you. Only the real, only the light, only that which is prior to the light will be the truth. My intervention today, on this 30th of August of the year 2020, signs the opening, after yesterday's event, of the great resolution of the planetary lie, the cosmic lie, the lie of creation and involution/evolution. There's only love. Everything else is destined to disappear right here on this earth, right here in your body of density, right here in your body of eternity, and from everywhere in the cosmos. I'm not asking you to believe me because you cannot believe this. Either you're living it or you're not living it, but I can assure you that you will live it, and the less you struggle, the less you will claim, and the more you affirm that you're the light, the more the road will light up before you and in you and around you. Everything else, as Billy would say, is cinema, cheap cinema so that you don't have to look inside. Even the vaccines, even the dictatorship, which is real and it's not from today. You just see it today, but it's been there since the dawn of time on Earth. Tax what you call civilizations, tax what you call authority. The autonomous and free human being does not need any authority to tell him what to do. He does not need scientific studies because he is in the moment, and in the moment is the answer. Everything else is cinema. Everything else takes you away from reality. If you're true, then the real manifests itself. Then the intelligence of light will work in you and around you. But it is not you who work. You are there to assist, to see and to be present. The action is done by itself. The important thing is to say no to society, no to what is contrary to the yes of accepting life, of accepting the instant and eternal present. It is no longer time to prevaricate or to talk about root race or kindling or overshadowing or whatever else. There's only one consciousness that is fragmented and dispersed infinitely in the same time and space/time. Everything else is just a dream to wake you up, and, as Abba said, nothing like a nightmare to wake you up and stop dreaming, stop believing. Even extraterrestrials, even the intergalactic confederation of free worlds in its totality is absolutely nothing compared to the smallest of us on this earth with its human soul. Stop being slaves of your thoughts, of your stories, of your emotions, of your becoming, of your fears, of your body. Make this decision within you in a firm manner and you will immediately see the changes. But until you let go of everything, you are not free, and life will show it to you. It will show it to you, in your country, in your family, in your house or your apartment, until you smile, until the joy takes you into the eternal ecstasy of truth and reality. This was my first and last intervention because everything now has to happen in you and through you. Do not depend on anything anymore. There's no savior. There's no return of I don't know which Christ or Antichrist. There's only the real, and what is being lived on this earth is a reflection of what is happening in the cosmos at this very moment, between the followers of the former and I would say those who live the real. And the real of course can only transform the dream and show it its uselessness, its fetidity. You are complete and you're whole as soon as you grant yourself the ultimate belief. You are much more than this form, you are much more than any form, you are much more than any world. Everything comes from there, everything comes from there, and everything goes back to there, and is happening now on this earth. This is the date. I'm not talking about the event that you're all waiting for, that there's no need to wait, because the event above all is yourselves. The discovery, the living of the truth of the real, of the intelligence of light, while you called it a gape or interdimensional spatial resonance. The important thing is to live it there, in the heart, really and concretely. Don't make cinema with a gape, don't make movement with a gape. Freedom is not a spiritual movement. Freedom is not to federate the others according to your vision or according to your lived experience. Freedom is to tell the other that he is free, to assert this to him until he lives it, without wanting to change anything. Affirm what you are beyond form. You are pure light and pure intelligence. All other intelligences that have not known the densest density of this earth are far from the real. In other words, it is humanity incarnated in this density on this planet today that is closest to the real, no matter how it may appear. Look at the extraterrestrials. Whatever their density, they have taken ships, they have created ships, they have passed through the intraterrestrial gates or through the gate of the sun. You do not need to move. You are at the heart of the action, at the heart of the dream, but also at the heart of the real. Everything else has been just distractions, lies, at worst by omission, but for that you have to discover the totality of the cosmic lie. And there again you have seen nothing. All those who appeared to you with the roles of guides, with the roles of enlightened beings, in all past centuries, and in all cultures, and in all civilizations, have been prey to the cosmic lie. There's only you. As long as you adhere or believe in any character, in any movement of thought, you are prisoners of your own creations, and there is suffering, more and more. But as the commander said, as Nisargadatta said, love or suffering, and you have the choice at every minute, at every breath, really and concretely. So, it is up to you to decide. What do you want to feed? History, memories, projections? Or do you want to nourish yourself with truth? It will appear to you as more and more two diametrically opposed behaviors. One is resolution, lightness, agape, and the other is suffering, anger, denial, fear. There can be no more half measures. You can no longer dither from one to the other. The real of the light, the intelligence of the real, will seize you behind all appearances, whether you have seen or not. As long as you do not accept your love, but still put your history, your attractions, or your repulsions in front of you, you are not free. It is something that is instantly decided, with which you cannot cheat, with which you cannot compose. It is yes or no. Life will show you, more and more quickly, more and more violently, you are love or nothing else. Love needs no baggage, no memory, no medal, no banknote, no affection, no bond. I would say in your soul and conscience, in your mind and in your character. Do you want to be free or do you want something else? Free of yourselves, free of form, or do you want something else? I will end with these words: whatever your form looks like, whatever your thoughts are, whatever you think right or wrong, it doesn't matter with regard to reality, it doesn't matter with regard to intelligence. And remember also, as Nisargadatta and the commander told you, in these times so conducive to joy, silence is the key word. It is not a question of no longer speaking, it is a question of playing, as it were, to the one who observes the observer. Who is watching the observer? What is the observer looking at? You are upstream of what is observable, you are upstream of what observes. You are the real. Everything else that can appear as thought, I have this age, I suffer from this limit, or I have this problem, is only there to divert you from the truth. If you had faith, as he said the other one, like a grain of mustard seed, then you would move mountains. It is not faith, hope in a future, it is the affirmation of the reality that you are, even without living it, that makes you live it. Everything else is history, everything else is mental or emotional scenarios. So I have come to invite you to unconditional freedom. It is time to drop all the teachings today, even mine, even those of the commander, even those of Nisargadatta, in order to be naked before the truth that you are. But once again it is up to you to prove it to yourself by the objectivity of your experience, and remember that you cannot cheat with the truth, with the real. Human intelligence is so limited compared to the intelligence of light. You believe you are your intelligence, which is false. It is time now on this day of August 30th, 2020, to give you time to digest what I have just said and to prove it to yourselves. Light will prove it to you. The intelligence of the light will use every opportunity, individual and collective, to lead you to what you are, where you have never moved, as some Oriental brothers say. You simply need common sense. You need to see what is happening before your eyes, in your country, in your family, in your home, to attend it without judging it. All the enlightenment is there, from the moment you no longer project, from the moment you no longer think, from the moment you do not appeal to your memory or your intellectual understanding. At that moment you are available. And this is available for each of you, whatever your occupation, whatever your age, whatever your health, whatever your wallet, whatever your isolation. Silence. I will leave you now in this silence. Silence. And in the silence, I greet you. Silence. I now return to the silence and tell you that all of us, elders, are closest to you, within you, and that we see clearly from our point of view this encounter between the planetary lie and the cosmic lie. There's your freedom, there's the revelation, and there's agape. Like the commander, I say to you always and forever, in the heart of each one who is the heart of each other. Silence. May your liquidity be flawless, may your presence be complete, and may love take away everything. Goodbye. Through Jean-Luc Ayoun. Less transformations. English Revised Translation, LMF.